And then literally 6 months later, we had the biggest boot camp in New Zealand, like by number. Yeah, it just blew up. And
That's crazy.
It was just a perfect storm of the way that the market was at that time, with a combination of digital marketing skills and...
Let's go!
Mark.
Yo, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. I was just listening to you talking and tell you about having a backup plan, so I was lucky I had my phone.
Yeah, awesome, man. No, that's cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Hey, no problem. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man, for sure. Really looking forward to it. So everyone at home, Mark Tulloch, he's got New Zealand's largest boot camp program. 9,000 people trained, 60-plus certified personal trainers. Really exciting stuff. If you just tuned in, jump in, say hi. Or, if you're on the replay, #replay, because the more comments we get, the more this will organically share. So then more people can hear Mark's story, because it's going to be really an exciting story. So, Mark, yeah, man, thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, no worries, man. Great to be here, Ross. I was just having a look through your group. It's so awesome, the concept you did with interviewing a new entrepreneur every day. I've actually been tapping in. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, cool, man.
I'm learning stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I try to have industry leaders from all sorts of industries. So, like with yourself, in the fitness space, we've had a few fitness leaders on before, but it's great just to being from New Zealand, especially a different part of the world. So I always just try to have a different industry leader on, just so it's interesting, it's fun, and it's not always the same thing. So it's great to meet you, and it's great to meet everyone that comes on. So yeah, man. I mean, tell me about New Zealand, because I remember I love Auckland. Like, Auckland is fantastic. I'm from Adelaide, and I landed there. I think it was about 6:45 p.m. One time. It was like a Tuesday, and all the shops were shut, and I was like, yeah, just like Adelaide.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I live in Auckland. It is a city of 1.5 million, but I guess everything is a little bit slower here compared to like a place like Sydney or even over into like London or New York or something. So everything's a little bit more chilled out. Everybody values their downtime, recreation. The thing I commonly hear from people who come over and live here is like, okay, yeah, this is how you're meant to live life. So it's quite cool.
Yeah.
A thing that a lot of people don't know about New Zealand is it's often used as a test market for a lot of large companies who come here because it's a captive market. For example, like Google, FPOS, Microsoft, they all launched a lot of their initial offerings through New Zealand. So it's a market to see what's working and get a gauge for it, which is cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know that. So yeah, that's really interesting. So Mark, have you always been in the fitness space, or is that something that over the last few years you kind of just fell into, or what happened there?
Not intentionally. So I've been in the fitness industry for 7 years, but it was very much a case of falling into it. After I left the military, I was working as a builder, but they just ran out of work, and I'd happened to do a PT qualification when I was in the military, so I kind of just fell into it because there was no other work on.
Yeah.
The first thing I noticed was how horrendously badly paid trainers were. I couldn't really like going in and working in a gym and seeing that you're earning like literally minimum wage, if not a little bit just above it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my initial experience of the fitness industry, was being underpaid, essentially.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's even jump back to when you were saying we were in the military. A lot of respect for the fact you served, but you were saying just before in a message that you were training for the special forces and you got binned a week prior. Let's talk about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, man, it was sort of my whole purpose of being in the military. I think it's like if you're a goal-orientated person, you want to reach the pinnacle. So the pinnacle of the army for anyone who's served is to become a special forces operator.
Yep.
So I was like no different to anybody else. I really went for it. I had no plan B and put my best foot forward. I did well enough to get through the selection course. I actually went and spent some time training with the SAS over in New Zealand.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I did 4 months. I got a taste of it, and I got binned. I didn't get through, so I'm not a special forces soldier as such, but I had a really good taste of it. And I'm here now. I'm kind of happy with what I did. At the time, I was really bummed out, but in hindsight, it turns out I'm better at being an entrepreneur. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you started off as a PT, and then from there, how long were you in the space before you started doing, say, your own boot camps and things like that?
Yeah, I was PTing for only 2 years. Yeah, so I was working at a large community over here.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I was PTing for a couple of years. I did very well as a PT, and I think the main reason was I had some formal sales training.
Cool.
Which is most PTs going into the personal industry game just don't have formal sales training, and just
Absolutely.
the small amount that really set me apart from the people who were on the floor working with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I always encourage personal trainers to learn how to sell. It's like legitimately go and learn how to sell properly. Don't think that the little tabbed on part of your PT course at the end is going to be enough to get you clients. It isn't. Any sort of formal sales training or telemarketing or door-to-door sales or network marketing, if you've had any experience in any of those, I generally find it's easier for you to sell fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've actually worked in a gym. I'm not a certified PT, but it was actually a sales role where we get the sheets, and I'd have to cold call people to come in. I'd then sell them the gym membership. I then had to upsell them personal training packages before they'd even met the trainer. So that was interesting.
Yeah, man. You're a membership consultant, and I think they're the most important person within a fitness organization. Like, they're the ones who are, I guess, customer facing, bringing people in, and then also as a personal trainer, I was looking to befriend them and make them my best friend.
Yeah, nice.
So feed me leads, take them out to lunch, or do whatever it took to schmooze them to make sure they were leads.
Yeah, that's it. Because I mean, in the PT space, like, it's a relationship between you and your trainer. So to ask someone, say like myself, to sell you on training, which you can do, like, it's very still simple to do, but without having that relationship with the trainer itself, like, you don't know if they're the right fit for you and that sort of thing. So it's so important to actually get to know your own personal trainer. And that's why it's so important for trainers to have their own sales training.
Yeah, 100%. Totally. There's so many don't learn how to sell ever, and then they kind of rely on floor walking, which is just it's getting harder and harder and harder with floor walking because there's just so much digital marketing going on.
Yeah.
The prices within gyms are getting cheaper and cheaper, so therefore the actual amount of money that you can charge is getting less and less in general. So the whole curve for the fitness industry is the prices are trending down. So it's trying to find a way to keep your income up while you're working in these gyms, which is really tough.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah, fair call. Yeah, nice. So you left, and then was it you straight into boot camps, or how did that progress? Because that's quite a big jump from PT to a fitness empire.
Yeah, it was actually my best friend from the army. He had been putting it to me, and I kind of just palmed it off. He would just keep saying, "Hey, we should do boot camps. This is a really good idea. We can train like bigger groups, work less, and then help more people." And I kind of just kept palming it off, going, "Oh, no, I've got my PT business. I'm fine. It's all right. Don't worry about it." And he kept nagging me to the point where I was like, "Hey, how about this? I'll do all the digital marketing. I'll set up the website. I'll do all the Facebook. I'll set everything up. I'm too busy running my PT business. You run the sessions, and we'll just see how it goes."
Yeah.
So that was my best friend, and I did that. And then literally 6 months later, we had the biggest boot camp in New Zealand, like by number. Yeah, it just blew up. And
That's crazy.
It was just a perfect storm of the way that the market was at that time, with a combination of digital marketing skills and just having a few nuts, to be able to say, hey, a little bit of a build it and they will come approach, like of just setting up locations and then trusting digital marketing to get the leads there to be able to actually grow a business.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a hell of a lot of fun in the early days, but we didn't really know what we were doing. Out of that came, yeah, so it was just like it grew so crazily fast. A lot of it was just about quality control, and
Yep.
I think being military guys, we really understood processes and actually slowing things down and making it all work better.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's an interesting point you made there about trusting in the digital marketing to grow the business. Because if you are coming from the PT space, how did you really come about with the digital marketing aspect? Was you hired someone to do it for you, or you just kind of started learning it yourself?
Yeah, it was kind of. I was just lucky. Like it was just like this perfect storm. I think I was saying it was like in the year 2000, I did a diploma of multimedia,
Okay.
and it was like did it. It was kind of a bit of a throwaway course. I was having a year off. Out of that, I started like making WordPress websites and mucking around, but I wasn't really making any money, and I never really thought much of it. I was like, oh, this sort of web stuff I do that's fun.
Yeah.
But that all culminated with this business when, like in 2012, when it was like all of a sudden all of these skill sets became ultra valuable, and I didn't even know it. So it's like I'd really encourage people to just all of these skills that you're accumulating on social media, all of the different platforms, the software, the automated emailing, a lot of it like we really take it for granted because we're doing it every day, but
Yeah.
so many people don't know how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a valuable tool, especially, a lot of the audience here being in the digital space, lead gen and things like that is so important for getting business.
Massively. It is. I believe it's everything. Literally, if I can solve that one problem, that was what led me for digital marketing. If I can solve that one problem in my business, everything else is taken care of. It's a bit cliche, but you just make more money, and most problems get taken care of.
Yeah, well, it's true. Yeah, just the more eyes you get in front of, the more business you get, and then in turn, then the bigger your business grows. Like it's just simple business. Yeah, no, that's really cool. So I guess Mark, when you were growing and you had the boot camps, how did you know it was time to really start getting more staff on and things like that? Like when did you kind of feel you were at capacity?
I think the thing that really drove getting owner operators was realizing that when you have a boot camp trainer who's running a location, they didn't really have a vested interest in the people. So they would turn up, run the session, do an okay job. But we really found that unless they actually had ownership in the location, whether it was a profit share or whether they owned part of it,
Yep.
they didn't really buy in fully. So we started looking at a franchise model.
Oh, cool.
But franchising was just really, really expensive. It was like the franchise just in New Zealand and Australia, you're looking at $200K worth of investment just for legal.
Okay, wow.
So going down the pathway of setting up an affiliate-based business, a license-based business, where it's a little bit less complicated. There's a little bit more freedom for trainers to operate as they want, and that was like significantly less cost for us. And it just allowed us to scale the business a lot quicker. I knew we were ready to grow, I guess, when we had an instructor certification. So we had a way of actually monitoring how we could train people to deliver sessions.
That's really cool.
Was the main, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So you were saying as well you've got an agency. So is that more within the same space, or is that more the digital, or?
Yeah, so out of this, having to solve all of my own problems for my own business, like my 2 gyms, my boot camps, I really I guess I had to master digital marketing, and I've been through all of the ups and downs and the evolutions and going from daily deals to like Insta's working, Facebook's working, all of this Snapchat's working, all of these different things. So I guess you just pick up skills and acquire them over a period of time. And it was like, it just naturally evolved that other people who work in the industry who didn't work under my brand were asking me for help. And I was like, and then I realized, you know what? Oh no, I think it was like I had an agency come and see me and pitch to me. and they were like pitching their service, and it was everything I do, and at the end of it, they told me how much they were going to charge, and I was just like, "Are you fucking serious? I should be charging. I should be stopping my service, not giving it away to everybody for free." So it was, it was a bit of a penny drop moment, realizing that, an agency would be a good idea. It's like a natural evolution. It helps me to stay ahead of the game and stay on top of my game with digital marketing for fitness, but then it also just allows me to network into the industry and get to know other trainers and get to know people, which is cool. Have opportunities like that.
Definitely, man. Yeah, well, if you're able to, network and grow your networks and also help others in the industry, that's going to be, ticks all around. So I guess for everyone listening at home that maybe, say, newer to the digital space, when you were first starting, Mark, in the whole digital, aspect of it, how did you realize, you said you were studying and that's how you got started, but do you have any tips for anyone that is really just starting out and they're looking, I guess, build that lead gen or anything like that?
Yeah, it's a bit of a cliche, but I'd say just master one thing. That would be my main. So don't try and be across Facebook and Insta and Snapchat. So initially specialize in one, I would say. So and really get focused into driving your traffic through one. Depending on what part of the industry you're in, Facebook is the obvious one because everybody's there.
Yep.
However, it's becoming a really competitive space, and it's very hard to actually get attention and attraction within Facebook now. So Insta is still very popular for the fitness industry and the fitness niche, particularly if you are like very attractive and you've got the image and you've got the look. Probably go down that path. But I think the main advice would be just focus on one medium and then go deep on it initially. If you're going into Facebook, then get into ClickFunnels combined with Facebook. If you're going into Insta, just go into Insta and really drive up your traffic. Yeah,
absolutely. Because, engagement really is key. And that's why, in this as well, everyone listening at home, if you're getting value, if you drop the hashtag value in the comments, that'd be awesome. Because, engagement is really important because then it will share more organically. And if you're running Facebook ads using ClickFunnels as well, ClickFunnels is awesome. There's some really big tools that are quite underutilized. And I imagine, have you noticed, Mark, in the New Zealand space that things like ClickFunnels really isn't that utilized? Because certainly here in Australia, it's getting there, but it's really quite almost unknown to a lot of people.
Very much so, yeah. ClickFunnels is great, only as good as how you can use it. I guess for people who have a little bit more experience as digital marketers, you probably remember lead pages.
Yeah.
So that was very popular lead page. Essentially the same thing, but ClickFunnels introduced the ability really for more third-party integration as well as more ability to collect money. Really, that was the big game changer for ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
So if you have, the payment gateway built into a funnel, ClickFunnels is definitely the way to go with that. Yeah, as you're saying, Ross, it is underutilized. I don't see many people using it or using it really well. I see a lot of people sort of using cookie cutter style funnels and trying to make them work. But there's not a lot of thought going in behind some of it. But I think that's the main challenge with these tools, and I think that's what Russell Brunson realized. It's not necessarily selling the tool; it's actually teaching people how to use it. Yeah, that's his main challenge. It's how do people use this friggin' tool? And a lot of people just don't know how.
Yeah,
and you have to buy a ton of his products to actually get them all working, but it's actually worth it at the end of the day. I've bought all of it. So obviously ClickFunnels, but I also subscribe to FunnelU. I also use Funnel Scripts. I've invested heavily in his tools. I really believe in them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And they can be fantastic. There's still a lot of glitches in ClickFunnels. One of our members here within the community. Like she's always joking around saying, "Oh, I love for Russell Brunson to hire me so I can fix everything."
Yeah, I'm open to looking at Builderall. I've heard people talking about Builderall. I mean, I haven't had a look into it. I don't really get emotionally attached to these tools. I know that they're like, a lot of people really buy into the tribal, like the hype thing of like, oh, I'm a ClickFunnels hardcore, but it's like, I'm ClickFunnels till it stops doing what I need it to do, which is, so
yeah.
Same with, I'm a Facebook guy till it stops doing what I need it to do.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Because with Builderall, it's interesting because I've personally never used it. And the only reason I've been put off Builderall, and this purely just nothing to do with the software itself. It's just the only times I've seen it been promoted are by the MML people that are promoting things where you sign up and you get a free $10 and you get this, and they're really spammy type scenarios. So it's only been that same demographic of people that have been promoting it, and that's the only reason I've been put on Builderall. Like, I have nothing against the software, I've never used it, but just from that, it's just no.
Also, the low cost. It's interesting. It's interesting you say that, Ross. But also, the thing that puts me off is the low cost. Because I know what ClickFunnels pays. You pay for it. I know it's got like a few problems. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, this is cheaper. It's probably going to have more problems.
Yeah.
And it's that whole, I guess, debugging phase that these software platforms go through that you don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be a part of their testing. And it kind of feels like they're in testing phase to me.
Yep, exactly. Like once they're established, then fantastic. But you really don't want to have to go through that hard slog of you're paying less for a service, but it's also less of a service.
Yeah, big time.
So it's interesting with the psychology behind it.
Yeah, and I think I think if I was only running ads or only running funnels for myself, I would be kind of cool to try it. But when you're operating for other people's businesses and they're relying on results, they're relying on the platform to be rock solid. If something goes wrong on ClickFunnels, I need to be able to contact them straight away and get an answer. It's just like, I can't risk a digital marketing client's livelihood because Builderall doesn't work properly. I don't know whether it does or it doesn't. Yeah, it's ClickFunnels, like I look at it, Russell, I mean, it says a lot for his brand. I just trust the guy, really. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, really, like with what he's done, it's funny, this has become just like a ClickFunnels chat. But, what he's done is he's gone phenomenally with it. And, there's still a lot of bugs, but they are getting fixed, and the money that's being put into it is getting fixed. And now when you sign up, he's got that game as such where it'll kind of teach you to go through the steps of building basic funnels and things like that. But, yeah, if you've got a digital agency, you can't be risking your client's business just for the sake of saving a few bucks. And with Builderall was, and as I said, I haven't tried it myself, so I don't want to keep slamming Builderall, but it's just that all these different things, got to add up.
No, 100%, I agree with that. I wouldn't test it out as well. But I mean, there's you do see now, like a lot of fitness professionals are going in using ClickFunnels, and why not? It just allows you to push in and do it.
Yeah.
And just have that rock solid platform.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's some big trainers that do that. And there's one I'm thinking of where he basically started using ClickFunnels only a few years ago. He started a Facebook group, and then from there has built, quite a successful business. Moved from the PT space to now more consulting for PTs. Which is very similar to what you're doing, Mark. And it sounds like it's going phenomenally for you. And especially, New Zealand is because it's such just very similar to Adelaide, where it's just a very kind of not low key, but it's just a very relaxed place. That word of mouth is very powerful.
Yeah, man, definitely. I mean, it's been very easy to get my brand and my name out in New Zealand. It's like, I guess, but it's you're being, I guess, without being arrogant, a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
So okay, most of the people in the industry over here will know me or know of me or heard of my personal brand or my other brand. It's now like, okay, how do I break into that, the markets that I guess you're operating in Australia, or how do you break into the American market? And
Yep.
I just keep going back to, I guess, expert secrets and everything that's taught within there, and taking the lessons out of, I guess, what Russell Brunson's able to do, and even the lessons out of your group. You're just teaching people to continue to be consistent with your content, consistent with your message. And a lot of the things I didn't realize initially, I'm now realizing it's just about patience and staying consistent with your message, and then allowing people to latch onto it over a period of time. Playing the long game, I guess, is what they'd call it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is. It's about patience, and just, it's not about that quick turnaround. Sometimes you really got to invest time into it to grow it over time. And, obviously what you're doing is working for you, which is phenomenal. And it's funny you say that, the big fish in a small pond, because Adelaide is very similar in that regard, which, annoys me at times, but because there's such a big market out there, there's an international stage, and there can be that. And it's fantastic that everyone in New Zealand knows you, and they're absolutely crushing it over there and smashing it there. And sometimes it's not needed to go to an international stage, but as entrepreneurs, we're always trying to build and grow and be more well known and things like that. So there's nothing wrong with trying to branch out to other markets.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, I would say like 95% of my digital marketing clients have not come through online. They just don't. And that's like all of the mastermind groups that I belong to, I guess all of the high level players that I've spoken to or got coaching from, they all say localized marketing into your market, where you can have a physical conversation with that person, go and meet with them potentially. I still find that is the easiest way for me to close a digital marketing client. I can go into their gym, meet with them, and close it. I do have clients in overseas markets, but that's only now that I've managed to, build up a lot of case studies. But it's just something I think everybody intrinsically just wants to work with local. I think it's something about us. We like it. I don't know why, but you'd think that people just want to deal with the best, but often they want to deal with the best in their market, I guess.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it is a case of, being in the digital space, getting clients off of the digital space is simply because they don't have a digital presence. If they already did have a digital presence, then your services may not be as needed. So, it's really interesting you say that. Yeah.
And like, I think a thing about gyms, I notice, sorry, Ross, I'm just plugging in to make sure I don't.
No, you're right, Mark. Do what you're going to do, man.
Flat. I noticed that there's also, you see it over here in New Zealand, often like you'll go in, a lot of places don't actually have onboarding processes for handling leads. And that's been like one of my real discoveries from getting into digital marketing is like a company will say, oh, okay, I need 100 members, for example.
Yeah.
Haven't really thought through all of the implications of 100 new people turning up to their organization and
exactly
the resources that are required, the follow-up to make sure they convert. So it's a lot of digital marketing is also understanding the non-digital implications from getting all of this additional business. I guess it's the same for every industry. You've probably spoken to people across a lot of industry that onboarding process.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you need to be able to take on that extra work because, if one of the issues of, scaling a business is that if you can't scale and handle it, then it's going to just crumble. And there's been many cases where, I've even had people on the show where they scaled too quickly and, the money was great, but they actually then took a step back and said, nah, look, I want to enjoy what I'm doing. So then they started to drop, clients and staff just to kind of level it back to a position they were comfortable in. And that's great in itself. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just if you're going to scale, you need to have those systems in place to be able to do that. So then if 100 new members came through a gym or, 30 new clients came on board, your digital, agency, you need to actually have all these things in place just so that you're good to go.
Yeah, man, definitely. Speaking first-hand experience, I made that mistake early in my agency life. Like, I took on, I think it was like 12 clients in the first month, and that was like, whoa, way too much. You know, you don't really take into account, I guess, all of the steps involved of doing that. You know, and like, it was like 120-hour weeks. It was like, yeah, we got it all done, but it was just like, no, that's definitely not the way to systematically grow a business. So now it's, a lot more about onboarding like 2 or 3 per month and actually taking them through a full process. It works, and more like taking the time to educate them what to expect when you get all of these leads.
Yeah.
And how to do the follow-up. Which, I mean, you'll be experienced of that working in a gym. The follow-up is just constant.
Oh, the follow-up was imperative. Like, it's, you know, I mean, to hire someone purely to do the follow-ups and the sales is still good. But, I mean, if you can train personal trainers to do this as well, I mean, A, you're saving on staff costs, but B, then the people have that relationship with that trainer. And, you know, sometimes if trainers, because as you said, you know, when you first start the industry, a lot of them were on minimum wage. And it's very common, you know, over here in Australia especially, that it really is quite a low pay grade, you know, for what they're doing, for the service they're providing. It's really, you know, they're quite underpaid for what they do. So, because if you were to do, you know, consulting one-on-one in other industries, whether it's sales or whatever else, it's significantly higher in pay. So, and if you're physically there helping someone, it's very underpaid. So for them to have those extra skills, then it'll basically just lift their game.
Yeah. No, you're so right about those human interaction skills. I guess some people call it relatability, the ability to empathize with other human beings or identify with them, and that's the key skill set that I often see missing. And you really notice that. I mean, it's human nature, really. Everybody gravitates towards the things that they love.
Yeah.
But you'll so often see that is the number one thing that trainers procrastinate, is that follow-up. It's just, like I run a system where I'll send clients a Google Sheet. So the Google Sheet will auto-populate a new line every time there's a lead coming in. And I create it and then I share it with them so I can see their leads coming in.
Yep.
And whether they're calling them, and it's like, this is like money on the table for this business that's struggling to get clients. This is it, we need it. And they'll literally leave them there for days and days. And it shows me how strong the mental block is with some people to just call people, get on the phone and call them.
Yeah, that's it. And sometimes it's hard because the psychology behind cold calls is, or I guess just that psychological barrier of, you know, not wanting to, whether it's to disturb someone or whatever else it is, it's, you know, it can be quite limiting, and that can limit a business in itself. And it's just once people are past that, and it happens. Like, I mean, a while ago, I sent out a huge email list, like a massive spam list, and I didn't want to do it. And I'll be honest, I had a few drinks beforehand, and then now it's fine. Like, I'll send out whatever I need to, but you know, it's just a case of I didn't really want to do that by thinking all these things gone through my head. Oh, what if I get all this hate mail? What if I get all these, like, you know, fuck yous, like all this? And so sometimes it's just there's sort of psychological barriers there, and you do whatever you're going to do to push past them. And now I've got no issues doing it. But yeah, it's funny. It wasn't too many drinks, but there's still a few.
Yeah. No, that sounds very, very familiar. I still find that cold email is like a really effective way to find digital agency clients. Like just getting an email, and like you're saying, and I still feel myself when that email comes in, it says, oh yeah, I'm interested to hear about your service. It's still that, I mean, my comfort zone is calling potential fitness member clients, but calling potential agency clients, business owners.
Yep.
It's not my comfort zone yet, so I still do get those feelings, but it's really like the main difference between people who make it and don't. It's just they get on the phone. That's it. Like you see all these ones who are smashing it. They're just making their calls. They're just doing 5 to 10 calls a day and like picking off 1 or 2 clients, 2, 3, 4 clients every month.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, absolutely.
They just got.
Yeah, man, for sure. So, yeah, Mark, this has been fantastic. Like, this has been a great chat. Everyone at home, Mark Tulloch, he's got the largest New Zealand boot camp program. Yeah, he's doing absolutely phenomenally. He's got a digital agency as well. If you got value from this, we would love to hear from you. If you could drop in the comments #value, just so we know that you were listening, just so we know that you got value from it, so we know to keep doing these episodes. So, Mark, with your business, how do people get in contact with you? Because all your links that you've got, your website, everything else, feel free to drop them here in the comments afterwards. But yeah, man, like how would anyone get in touch with you for you to be able to help them with their business, or anyone listening in that's from New Zealand and they're keen to get trained by a PT? How do they get in contact?
Yeah, so I guess the easiest way would just be come through my personal profile. You'll see me, well, I guess in this Go Live, just PM me. Like I'm super active on every day. If you want to check out some of my case studies and just see the work I've done, then go to marktulloch.com. I managed to be able to secure my .com.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, those are the 2 ways. But yeah, just get in touch, have a chat. I do a free assessment for fitness business owners. At the very least, you'll come out sort of having a direction and an understanding of what you need to do realistically to get digital marketing sorted. So just telling you like the key assets you need.
Yep.
And then if you want a professional service, that's cool. And if you don't, just jump in my group, which is similar to Ross's group, and it's kind of quite similar to this, but all we talk is fitness.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah, that's it. Those would be the 3 ways.
Yeah, fantastic, Mark. Well, that's great. And yeah, absolutely. Feel free to drop all the comments, all the links in the comments below, just so that way after people watch the episode, they know exactly where to go. Because let's be honest, people are lazy, so if the comments are, if their links are right there, they can just click. But yeah, Mark, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute blast. We've had a great chat. I've learned a bit as well from the fitness space. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Cool. Thanks for the opportunity, Ross. I really appreciate it, and appreciate you making the series, man. I'll keep watching.
Thanks, man. And yeah, let's keep in touch because I'd love to hear how things are going for you.
Awesome, bud.
Thanks, mate.